It's Saturday, and we are on our way to the Academy Museum of Motion Pictures. Today is my husband's 35th birthday, and he's been wanting to check out this place for a very long time. So I'm very excited to see what the museum has in store for us. We purposely decided to not look too much into what was going on this weekend. We sometimes just like to show up and be surprised, and I think that's actually a lot funner than doing all this research on what's going on. Sometimes having an address and just a loose plan on how to get there is all we need. The museum does have its own parking structure, but we ended up using the Peterson Automotive parking and it worked out just fine. Just walk a little ways down and you're right there. And here we are. I am so excited I cannot contain myself. Prepare yourself for a bag check as soon as you walk in, and there's only one option for food and drinks here, so I would suggest to pack a small bag with snacks and waters and probably have some food before you get here. The cafe that's inside the museum looks very nice, and if it was just my husband and I'm sure we would have had lunch there. But we had the kids and the stroller, so it wasn't a good option for us. But thankfully, we had her bag packed and lots of water for ourselves and my nephew, so it worked out just fine. Just wanted to give you all a heads up. I really enjoyed this area that we're walking into. Before we got to the museum, my husband and I were talking about what the difference was between a director and a producer, a cinematographer, all of those different jobs that they have behind the scenes for movies. And this actually broke every single one of those jobs down. So it was really neat to see the descriptions and also pictures of people in action. Funny how life works out, because at certain points in both my husband and my life, we were trying to pursue something in film and animation. I was going to school at the Art Institute in Los Angeles for media arts and animation, and my husband has always drawn, and I think he was even taking art courses in college. I won't speak for him, but I personally wanted to be in animation, and I wanted to do claymation at one point. I just was very inspired by Tim Burton and even Pee Wee Herman growing up, and I drew a lot as a kid and in high school. But being 17 and in Venice Beach and trying to concentrate on going to school and living in a new city and all the things that come with being a young adult was just very overwhelming. So back to my point was, our life would have been so different if we would have went through with these paths that we were on as basically teenagers and kids. So I kind of was thinking about that as we were walking through the museum. And as I was talking, I just missed the ruby red slippers from one of my favorite films, Wizard of Oz. And here are some outfits from the Barbie movie. This room here is dedicated to South Korean filmmaker Bong Joon-ho, and he is responsible for the movie Parasite and a lot of other really amazing films. They had sculptures from his movies, some storyboards, some clips that were playing in the background. So many beautiful photographs and things to look at, and the video will speak for itself.
나한테서 들은 거야, 이야기. 그래가지고 엄청 심한 복숭아 알레르기고 알레르기를 다른 거야. 그 복숭아 그 겉에 완전 다 털이잖아. 그 털이 또 근처나가지고 온몸이 새빨개지고 그 곤란해 처지게 생 난리가 난다네.
After we left the Bong Joon-ho area, we entered a room that was filled with classic movie posters from top to bottom. This room was amazing, and we actually collect movie posters at home too, so we wanted to take a couple of these back with us.
It's about a serial killer. This one's also about a serial killer. Silence of the Lambs. He's also the guy who did Main Hall.
야, 기구야. 뭐하냐, 거기서? 어?
It's the host.
This area was dedicated to the Oscars and giving you a little bit of what it was like to experience walking on the red carpet. For an extra $10, you can have the Oscars experience, which lets you have an entourage escort you backstage, see your name in lights, step on stage to a standing ovation, and hold a real Academy Award statuette. You also get to receive a video capturing your classic Hollywood moment. Unfortunately, we didn't end up doing that on this trip, and I wish we would have, seeing as it was my husband's birthday, but it gives us a reason to go back, and I will be doing it next time. I really want to know how heavy an Oscar is. There was a very small room that was dedicated to some of the Toy Story animation from Pixar, and this rig here kind of shows a little bit of how some of the characters moved in the movie. And if you didn't see it earlier, please be warned that there's flashing lights and fast moving objects in this clip. You can fast forward to 8 minutes and 47 seconds if this is bothersome to you or not something that you're into. That was a lot of fun, and I had no idea that they used things like that for animated films. For some reason, I just assumed everything was done on the computer. Alright, now follow us to the Jaws exhibit, which is going to be my husband's favorite part. He's been waiting quite a while to see this exhibit, and I'm really glad that it's here for his birthday, because I know Jaws is one of his all-time favorite films. One of many. The museum offers free guided tours that have set times, and we showed up for the first one, but decided that it wasn't a good fit for us because there was just so many people, and we have the baby with us, so I kind of have to dip in and out of the exhibits to feed her and kind of calm her down. So we waited for the group to pass, and then we came back a little bit later to enjoy the self-guided tour on our own. They had a cool little setup where you could basically learn how to play the Jaws theme, and it was pretty foolproof.
The audience screamed so loud, I'd never heard anything like that in my entire life. Anybody, let alone my own, at a preview. Now, that scene had already been shot. It wasn't done to...
Thanks for coming to my performance. My album will be dropping in the year 2080.
It's supposed to be real heavy. I've never.
The last room of the Jaws exhibit actually displayed a lot of Jaws memorabilia and merchandise from around the world. I really loved the handbags that were from Japan and seeing some of the pinball machines and arcade cabinets that were Jaws themed. The last video in our visit from the Jaws exhibit is actually a video that I recorded on our phone. They have a little rig set up in there where you can put your phone in and you get the feel of zooming in and zooming out on a real camera rig that's used in movies. So that's what this is here. The next exhibit is about showcasing the work of Sarah Greenwood and Katie Spencer, who are part of the production design teams for Barbie and a movie called Anna Karenina. This exhibit focuses on the duo's artistic vision and range, highlighting Greenwood and Spencer's process, and shows how they developed the overall look and visual concept of a movie. I really enjoyed exploring this part of the museum because before that day, I had no idea about either one of these women. And I also did not know that they worked on both the live-action Beauty and the Beast and the Barbie movie. So it was really nice to explore and learn and see all of their visual stylings in person. It felt very magical in this area, and the Barbie part was especially my favorite. What we're looking at here is the enchanted rose in a glass from the movie Beauty and the Beast. So as we wrap up looking at the Beauty and the Beast section of this exhibit, I'm going to be really honest about what's coming up next. And like I said earlier, Barbie's in here, and I'm not a huge fan of the movie. I tried to put it on at least 3 times, and I fell asleep every single time. Which is really hard for me to admit because I love Barbie and I was so excited for this movie to come out. It's strange that I was falling asleep when I was watching it because I felt like the visuals were just very overstimulating, and it kind of reminded me of when you watch TikToks or when you're like doom scrolling. There was a lot of that stuff going on. I know I probably shouldn't be saying anything negative about the movie while we're in here, but the reason why I'm bringing this up is because even though I didn't enjoy the movie, I loved the exhibit. I love to see all the little models and just know more of what was behind the scenes for that movie. And it actually ended up giving me a better appreciation for what the end product ended up being. So this is to my Barbie fans. If you did not like the movie or are not happy with the movie, still give this exhibit a chance. You're gonna just feel like you walked into a huge dollhouse, and if you go back to watching the movie again, I'm sure you'll have a greater appreciation for it. Who knows, maybe they'll surprise us and make a sequel, and I'll end up enjoying the second movie better than the first. Sometimes that happens. Remember Terminator 2? As we wrap up our time here in the Barbie exhibit, I just want to say that this was one of my favorite parts of the museum. I just love dreamy aesthetics and all things pink and girly. They had a photo op in her pink Corvette outside of it, but there was just way too much traffic for me to get a picture. So here it is in all its glory. Up next, we entered the Leica Gallery. Inside was the Hollywoodland exhibit, which explored the history of some of the oldest and most famous film studios, such as Universal, Paramount Pictures, and Warner Brothers. This is an excellent place to wander and read for anyone who's into old Hollywood history.
Permeated the working culture as well. Most filmmakers in power were white men.
Here we are making our way up to the final level of the museum, which is on the 5th floor. You have to walk across a glass bridge called the Barbra Streisand Bridge, and this was terrifying to me. My husband and nephew thought it was hilarious to watch me go over it and not look down at all. Not very many people know this about me, but I'm very afraid of heights. And you have to walk to the bridge, and it takes you out to the open-air Dolby Family Terrace, which offers panoramic views of the Hollywood Hills and the Hollywood sign. I tried to be brave and go as close to the edge as I could, but I got a little dizzy and had to go back to my baby and chill.
Look at this.
That Chinese glass bridge. It's still cold. Echo!
It was beautiful, but thank God we got out of there and are on our way to my favorite part of the museum, which is the Ponyo exhibit. I'm not going to do very much talking during this segment because the music is just so magical and so wonderful, and I just want you all to really experience what this was about. I am going to chime in here and explain what this area is. So they have a little setup where you can use a light board and take some sea animals and scan this little code and make a little stop action film from your phone. Unfortunately, the code wasn't working for my husband, so he decided to go ahead and just do it frame by frame with pictures with the help of my nephew. And this is the finished product. I hope you all enjoyed the magic that is Ponyo, and if you haven't seen the movie, go rent it today. Find it online, stream it, but watch it. This is the Godfather photo op that my husband had to have before he left the museum. Now it's off to some pizza. That was our first time at Lucifer's Pizza, but that place was delicious. We got the margarita pizza for ourselves and a pepperoni pizza for my nephew and my daughter, and they loved it. Make sure you guys check it out if you're in the area. If you happen to miss where we walked into, we're actually at Funko on Hollywood Boulevard, and this is my nephew's first time being here. He is actually going to be picking up quite a few things for himself and his brother, and I end up finding a little something for myself for Mother's Day as well.
And then Knuckles as Superman.
That's cool. Where's Sonic?
Oh, you like it?
There's my girl Ariel.
Yes, you can.
Hey, that's cool. He looks kind of rare.
Hey, I've never seen a Tamatoa pop.
Fun fact, I have a Tamatoa tattoo on my leg. So, of course, they're going to get me in the Sanrio section, and I saw the two little twin stars pop and freaked out. Of course, this came with me for Mother's Day.
Right here. Look at these Godzilla ones, man. Man. Shark Tooth, Land Before Time. Jaws. King Ghidorah.
Yeah.
That was
Look
cool.
at this one.
Yeah, Sleeping one too.
Eventually, I'm getting the 16-pound ones. I didn't even know they made this.
Pretty in Pink, Crybaby. Look at
I
these
saw the video
Robocop
before.
ones.
Look at Ducky.
Nice, very good.
Wait, I like that. Terrifier 2 is crazy. Oh, look. Oh, look, the creature of the Black Lagoon picture.
That's so cool.
Needless to say, my nephew dropped the most cash at the Funko Pop store, and he spent the majority of his money here in the anime section buying One Piece Pops. So I just want to wrap this up and say thank you guys so much for joining us on our adventure for my husband's birthday. If you enjoyed this video and want to see more like it, please like and subscribe.